Hey there! Today is all about a recruitment business. £940,000 turnover. She's got a solid team and they've got great clients. Last year, she made £189,000. Not bad. Her accountant said that the margins, they look about right for a recruitment business. But I think there's more. So come with me. Let's take a look. Before we just dive into everything, I want to give you some information regarding this business. Now, as per normal, whilst this is based on a real situation, we've changed names, we've changed a few details, all to protect the anonymity of the individual concerned. But let's give you a few bits of information. So this is about a company called Meridian Recruitment based in Leeds. The director is a lady called Sarah Calloway. The business was not £940,000 turnover in the last set of accounts with a net profit of £189,000, which is just over 20%. There's a team of 6 and they are operating from a business premises, and everything's, as I said in the headline, £189,000 turnover. 20% is not bad for a recruitment business. Or is it? First things first, let's dive into the bank statements. So this is the bank statements for the business for the period January, February and March 2025. So this is all based on the fact of when they originally came to us back in around about April, May time. I think it was the end of April 2025. So I've got my notes here on my Remarkable. I can run through the various bits. So session 1, what we did was we went through a costs audit. So the main thing of what we did was we go through the bank statements, we highlight anything that we go, I want to be able to look into that, right? So we highlight amber stuff and go, yeah, let's dive into it. Let's see what's going on. And I've made some various notes. These are how things ended up playing out, but obviously I'll reveal bits to you as we go through that. So the first one was there's read.co.uk. That's on here, paying £820 a month. Now, I highlighted a few of these. So we got Read, we got CV Library, Total Jobs, there's LinkedIn, and there's Indeed. And I thought it's a recruitment business, yeah? You're going to have different platforms that you're going to be posting on. But do they really need all of these? And the answer may well be yes. But if you don't ask the question, you don't know the answer. Okay? So my job's to ask the difficult questions, and it might just be, even if the answer is simply that Sarah just went, yes, I do. Why? Why do you need each one? What's going on? Tell me about it. Okay? So we quickly dived into these. Read, she went, ooh, 820, that sounds quite a bit. Yeah, I agree, it does. It's actually from the 2021 rate. They've never actually renegotiated with Read, and Read are quite open to negotiations. We know that from our work within the industry. We looked at what the volume was today versus what it was back in 2021 when they originally signed that contract. And we think roughly based on today, it should be about £500 a month. Okay. Now, she might not get that rate, and it's going to take a bit of negotiation, but actually they don't feel like they need Read that much. That it does help, and it does give them some extra exposure, but it's not massively important. So we noted down the fact that she's got to reference what the current market rate is and what she thinks it's worth. We've also then got to do the bit of renegotiation, but we also agreed that actually she's perfectly happy to leave if it needed be. So if it can't be a decent rate, then fully happy to leave. So should be, in theory, able to get the £320 a month saving. So we need to go and log that in the system, right? So pop over to here. It's a general cost of sales. So we don't actually have it. It's effectively a marketing cost, yeah, for the business. In fact, yeah, we don't actually have cost of sales within here. So let's go for effectively it's a marketing cost, yeah, because it helps them market the jobs for them. In fact, I'm going to list it under other, just to be clear. So what was found, Read at old rates. The annual impact was £320 times 12, so I've noted that's £3,840 for the year. And the action required is renegotiate contract and potentially threaten to leave. Okay, so that's finding number one that we found within the bank statements. The second area that we dived into, still around the same thing, was the CV library. So CV library, £380 a month. It appears regularly, so we can see it further on down the list. They're not really using it. They found that the quality of CV library for them has dived off a little bit over the years. They think there's very, very few placements they could actually attribute to CV library over the last 6 months. Now, that was a bit of a gut feeling from Sarah, and she didn't have the data, but she's pretty confident. Everyone says, when do we ever place anybody with CV library? So the argument is that actually they could probably just drop it. So we've put that as the likely outcome. So nice and simple is on there. We've got CV library not effective. Confirm stats as expected and cancel. Okay, and the annual impact of that at £380 a month is £4,560. So you can see quite quickly how this stacks up, yeah? Just to go, all we've done was review one key area of the business and go, yeah, we are wasting a bit of money on Reed. We don't really need CV library. And quite quickly, we've just found £8,000 a year. So, yeah, great little bit of work involved there. Then we were on to total jobs. So let's whip back over to the bank statement. In fact, not that one. The bank statement. So we want total jobs. £290 a month. And again, there's low conversion on total jobs. It's basically, her description was, it's probably like CV library. And potentially it's even worse. It's a low conversion. It rarely produces any placements for the specialism that they use it for. Notice period again is 30 days. So again, the agreement was, again, check that and get it cancelled. Yeah. Total jobs is not effective. So the annual impact there is £3,480. And again, review data and cancel. Okay. Now, the good thing with any of these decisions, right, they can always be reversed. If suddenly she, made the decision and suddenly found the data was not right for some reason, and suddenly their placement percentage suddenly starts dropping, you can quite easily just go back to total jobs or CV library and just turn them back on. Yeah. So it's just the fact that she's carrying them because it feels easier, or it's just a bit of laziness. Yeah, it doesn't feel like a great decision to keep them on. So what we'd worked out from this, is we effectively have got 4 of the platforms. 2 of them are working. The Reed's working okay. Now, I'd argue that based off the CV library and the total jobs thing, you might not negotiate so hard with Reed, but for the fact of what their usage is at, I think it's quite clear that they should be at £500 a month, so I don't think there's going to be any need for any threatens to leave. And the other is Indeed's working really, really well. And then we've got the LinkedIn element, which we had to dive into. So if we looked at the LinkedIn, they're paying £650 a month. The license is actually assigned to a recruitment consultant of theirs, a guy called Alex. And Alex actually left back in March 2024. Okay, so nobody's been able to actually log into this, and nobody's really noticed. So actually, that £650 a month has been going for a long time. That's 14 months, right? So if you take the £650 times 14 months, I know you can't get this back, but that's over £9,000 that's been wasted already, right? So we need to get a stop put to that ASAP. So there's no notice needed. You can literally just cancel and it's done. So if there's ever any billing coming up, then we won't get it. It won't happen in the future. So it was agreed, basically just cancel the LinkedIn. They don't think it's being effective anyway. What was found? LinkedIn not being used. The annual impact of that we found was £7,800 per year. Let's just double check that. Yep. And the action required is just simply cancel. Okay. Now, with that now cancelled, we now want to be able to have a look at the next area. £650 a month. Yeah, I'm just having a look at my notes, sorry. £650 a month, left 14 months ago. It's in every month, yeah, so we can see that it's a regular thing that they keep spending on. And obviously it has to go. Now, all of that is the key things that we found within the spreadsheet, yeah, within the spreadsheet, within the bank statements, right? So we went through the bank statements, we found all these various areas, and we decided we'd cut these off. There is an element of a couple of other bits. So the other one is there's 2 CRM systems here. So they have this Bullhorn CRM system, and they also have the Vincere recruitment system. And the Bullhorn was replaced because Vincere, not quite as good, but clearly like half the price or less. So Bullhorn, it was decided it needed to run it alongside. There's a few little features, but actually they don't really need them. They're nice to have, but they're not worth that level of money. So really, Bullhorn needs to be cancelled. They do have potentially a 30 to 60 day notice period with them. They really just don't need them. Some of the teams still go back in and use Bullhorn out of habit, but actually the team do agree that Vincere is the better product. They just need to get used to it. So the simple thing here is stop running the dual CRMs. Make a decision. If Bullhorn's the right one to go for, keep it and get rid of Vincere. If Vincere is the right one to go for, keep it and get rid of Bullhorn. When I pushed Sarah on this, she went, no, Bullhorn's got to be one that goes. There's not that much difference in them. So the staff just need to get used to it, is effectively what she said, which I know she doesn't quite mean it like that, but the point was it's not worth the extra cost. So we need to go to software and tools. There were 2 CRMs in place. The annual impact of this is £12,840 per year, and it's cancel Bullhorn CRM. Okay, so that's that one done. We then also found the mobile phone contracts. Yes, so O2 Business Mobiles. I just thought I'd ask the question. £280. If you sort of looking at that and you're dividing it by 6 of them, it was £47 a month. I thought potentially a bit high for these days for contracts. They don't need like the latest phones and things like that. It's probably SIM only, or maybe it's just basic phones that are in place. When we dived into it, there were actually 8 lines. There are 2 still in place for ex-staff there. Now, when we dived a little bit more into them, then actually we found, just looking through the notes, that actually both of those are now just on a rolling 30-day period. So there's no notice. They just need to get on and get them cancelled. Okay? It was a utilities costs and 2 extra mobile contracts were in place. Cancel the 2 not needed. And then the annual impact of that, so they were both at, just having a look at the notes, £46.67 per month each. So effectively £93 a month for the 2, which is £1,560 for the year. Okay. So in a business so far that's not been doing, that felt like they're doing quite well, there's quite a few things that we've managed to know. Now, okay, there's nothing else relating to those various bank statements. So what we have managed to find is significant levels of savings. Just double checking my notes, because I noted that the total savings here were potentially 23,520. So let me just have a look and see what we found. Yep, well, that. Okay, and then the LinkedIn recruiter, that's fine. So that was there. So we got 3,840 plus CV library. Okay. Yes. So, okay, one of them was we decided not to include Read at the moment because actually we decided that was a little bit risky. We've got CV library and total jobs being removed. If we push read too hard, that could end up not happening. So we decided that actually we wouldn't push that one. And then the other area was, the other area was around the CRMs. 18 months ago. Okay, so actually, 6960. Sorry, did I read my notes wrong here? 580. Fine. So, a new system migration got stalled. Okay. Fine. Actually, I read my notes wrong then, sorry. The two CRMs that are in place here, it's not 12,840. They found they're going back to Bullhorn. The Vincia's only been using on the Monday. So yes, Sarah's thing was that actually she preferred Vincia and she thinks it's a better product, possibly because of the price. But the team still find themselves going back to Bullhorn all the time because it's the one that has the key data. The migration hasn't really worked. There's a load of work in place to do it, and they don't have the time right now. So actually, it was decided they need to cancel Vincia instead. So the saving of that wasn't the 12,000. It's the 6,960 that they can save there. Okay, is it 6,960? Hang on, let's have a look at my total. Sorry. 23,520 minus 24,360. It's 840. So it's not. It's 6,120. So sorry, that's 6,120 that was found. So that was 6,120 that was found. So let's just sum up what we managed to find then in session 1. We have potential options relating to Reed that now aren't on here, right? Which is a £320 a month, which is nearly £4,000 a year that could be saved from negotiating with Reed. What they wanted to do first was let CV library be cancelled and total jobs be cancelled and see where they end up relating to those. The LinkedIn that's not being used, they really don't think it was effective, so got that being cancelled. The 2 CRMs, whilst they agree that Vincia is attractive for the price, there's loads of work to be done regarding the transition across to that, so let's just cancel Vincia itself. That's £6,000 saved, and also the 2 extra mobile contracts as well. So really, just going through the bank statements, spending roughly an hour diving into those, we found £23,500 a year, right? It's a massive find. It's a massive saving, right? Now, from my perspective, looking at this, if this is a business that's found or felt like it was running successfully and actually was hitting margins that are sensible for that type of business, 20% for a recruitment agency is not bad. But I know what businesses can get like, right? They end up with little bits just creeping in like these things. And your business, right, is not immune. So if you've been watching this and thinking, oh, yeah, but my business is okay and it's running fine and there's nothing you're going to find, this is proof, right? It's worth you having a go, right? All you got to do is head over to our website and click on the link for the Profit Gap tool, or simply just head to tool.mbsaccountants.co.uk and go through the process, right? It will quickly highlight what we think we can possibly find in your business. Okay, based on our experience of going through other businesses similar to yours and similar structures. You can then have a chat with Jason from our team. He can run through things with you, get a bit more information, confirm if we think that that's actually possible, because there might be some other bits that we can run through and get a little bit more detail. If that's the case, come and join us on one of these sessions, right? We might use you potentially by changing your name and everything else and sharing what we found. But what we won't do is we won't share it publicly. That's for you, right? But what could happen is for £1,500, we could go and find you within one session £23,000 a year. And I tell you what we've got in place, if you don't find, or we don't find £1,500 on your behalf, you can have the money back. All we ask is that you do 2 sessions. So this session and the following session. Okay? If you've done those 2 sessions and we still haven't managed you to find £1,500, then we won't end up charging you. We'll give you that full refund. Okay? And I'll show you, right? If we switch back over to the software here, right? If I get rid of session 1, mark that as complete. 1, it's covered within here anyway. The fee's covered, keep going. right, if we jump into session 2, right, if we go to try and mark session 2 complete, it flags up, right? If this was the case that we hadn't hit the £1,500, it flags up. So Jason, or whoever's running the session, knows that if we have not met the guarantee, we need to close the engagement, we need to give you a full refund, okay? We're not here to try and just make £1,500 out of you for not doing anything. We want to give you return, right? And in my view, £23,000 after an hour's worth of session, more than enough return. But we've got more that we can find. So if you're in doubt, if you want to see what you can be saving in your business, like I say, head over to our website, go to tool.mbsaccountants.co.uk, fill it out, and we'll be in touch. Okay, back to this. So let's whip over to session 2. So these are around margins and pricing. So what we need to be able to do is go through the placement breakdown. Here we go, the placement breakdown document. In here, what you can see is various placements that they've made based off different sectors. Yeah, so we've got different ones that they've done. So we've got financial services, placed 3. We've got another financial services, there was 2 there. We've got a legal one. You've got another legal one, right? And all we've done is just hidden away the various companies within here, so you can't see who they are, right? But we can see the various places they've got and what they've managed to achieve. So there's been 29 active clients since December 24, and there's been 11 one-only clients. Okay, the net profit impact. So what we need to be able to do. Sarah has a contingency fee rate, okay, and it's 14% of the first year salary. Okay, now that's paid only on the placement. So there's 2 models, yeah, the contingency, which is paid on the placement, and then there's also the retained, where the client pays for it up front, but for an exclusivity. Now, Sarah's retained fee rate is 22% of the first year salary. Okay, so there's a slight more premium on there. But the placement salary at Meridian is £42,000. So the contingency fee on £42,000 is £5,880. The retained fee on £42,000 is £9,240. So the difference between those two is £3,360 per placement. You still with me? Okay. For the last 20 placements on here, I noted that 17 of these are contingency and 3 are retained. Okay. So with that being the case, I wanted to know, why does Sarah default to contingency? Yeah, because we've seemed to have lots of these contingency ones going on, but yeah, not much of the retained. But the retained, clearly we know, works better, the higher fees. And just looking back at my notes here, right, she told me it just feels easier to sell the contingency one. And she's never really tested it. How many of those 17 did she actually need to actually go to contingency on? And we looked at it and we went, do you know what, probably 5 of the 17, if we went really conservative, probably 5 of them could have been retained. So that's 5 clients where there could have been an extra £3,360 of fees. Okay, by switching the approach at the sales process. Okay, but it's not as simple as just going, oh, but that's £16,800 of additional income. However, there is commission to pay on that, right? So there's, at the typical consultant commission rate, that's £2,016, and therefore that's improving profit by £14,784. Now, it's important to note here, right, that this is exactly the same work, pretty much, being done for the same clients, but with a different open conversation on the pitch. Okay? We do need to log it. It's effectively a pricing issue. And they're selling contingency by default. The annual impact we said was 14,784, and it's just offer retained package more often. Hey, the fact they're not even offering it Now, the other area is that there is a price review. So the oldest client in the list has been on the same rate. So I'm just looking where they are. The oldest client in the list, okay, yeah, they've been on the same rate since 2021. So obviously that's 4 years at this point with no review. What we sort of said was actually needs to be some degree of regular increase. Nothing really happens. They just keep them on the same rates once they're in. Even if it's just a 3% increase, which arguably doesn't really even cover inflation, right? But if you're not doing any increase, then it's better than nothing, yeah? So if we can get that 3% increase across the 47 annual placements that they do, then there's potential of additional income there, which after various costs and things, with the 12% commission, that's £7,000. So again, it's another pricing issue. No annual increases. Introduce a 3% increase, which is arguably, like, you must agree that's really conservative, yeah, to go in for 3%. And the impact is 7,279. Okay. Just having a look. So what we've managed to find then in here is we found another £22,000 in here. Yeah, £22,063. So that's £45,583 that we've found so far. Okay, £45,583 on a business that was already running at 20% margin. Okay, this business was doing well. It's just about to be doing even better. So we confirm we found the £1,500 at least, definitely. Therefore, no reason to trigger the guarantee. We're going to carry on and get ourselves over into session 3. So session 3 is all about churn and retention. Now, at the start of 2024, these guys had 38 clients, but by the end of it, they've got 29, right? So that's 9 clients that have gone cold, inactive for whatever reason. Something's not been happening and going on. Now, for those, there were exit reasons flagged on a couple of them. And I'm just having a quick look across my notes to see what we've got. Yes, so here we go. So if you look on this document, yeah, we've got all of the clients in here, but we've got all these ones down here that have gone dark or are inactive, right? Now, a number of these, there isn't really any known reason. These guys here, they confirm that they've moved the placement in-house and it's not recoverable. These ones cut their budget. These ones are not known what's going on. Didn't ask any questions. Nothing was really done. And these ones, if they just sort of left. So this one, the consultant who managed them, the guy who left back in March 24, there was no introduction of a replacement for them. They placed these guys back in January 2024, but nothing's really happened since then. And they placed these guys 3 times over 5 years, but there was no service review. So they just went quiet. So all of these are opportunities, yeah? So client A, which is this one here. So these guys, we can see they placed, I've got my notes here, they placed twice in 2023. The consultant, obviously I mentioned, left in March 24. Nobody was introduced as the replacement. It's just, come on, it's business 101, isn't it? Yeah, people do business with people, right? So I did pull Sarah up on this, and to be fair, she didn't really need pulling up anyway. She knew. She's like, come on, we should have done better. They didn't really decide to leave. They've just been dropped, yeah? So my feeling was there's a potential relating to these guys. The other one then is these guys. Again, placed them in January of 2024. They sent the feedback email in April and nobody replied. So they then placed with a competitor in July, right? So they gave them feedback, right? And actually, I don't know if that feedback was positive or negative. I didn't actually note that, but they gave them feedback and then nobody responded. And because nobody responded, they've gone and placed with somebody else. Okay? So, could have found out what was going on. There might still be an opportunity. Maybe they were happy, right? But because for whatever reason they didn't feel they had a contact or whatever, but need to go back and see what's going on there. And then the other one, like I say, they placed 3 times over 5 years. They've gone quiet. They haven't had a service review. Sarah thinks it might be to do with their budget, but actually she just thinks that. She doesn't know it because nobody's actually called them. So surely with all of these 3, it's just a case of giving them a call. Nothing might come. Something might. Okay? There was a long relationship with these guys. Right? So there's options. So if we take those 3 clients and we go for the fact that they've got a placement each, the average fee therefore is £5,880. The gross fee then that we could be getting across those guys is 3 of those at £17,600. There's 12% commission that we mentioned that needs to sit in place. So the net profit impact is £15,523. Right? So 3 clients with 1 placement each, that's £15,523 after commission. I don't think that that's unreasonable. Yeah, we have got these guys who've left. We've also got these other ones that we don't know, but we're ruling out these don't know ones. We're going for the fact that we can probably recover these 3 out of the total, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 that left. Okay, so let's go and log that in the decision guide. So in the reactivation opportunity, we've got 9 clients left. 3 might be recoverable. The annual impact we said was £15,523, and the action required is give the 3 key ones a call first. Okay, and that was it regarding session 3. Normally we do have a look at the other areas, so we do dive into if there's a retention risk relating to existing clients and the lost revenue side, but actually it's just the reactivation opportunity. There is the case they can hold on to clients better by making sure that they've got these service reviews and things in place. Sarah does have them. She just thinks in a couple of these occasions they didn't quite happen, so just need to nail down how important that is. Okay, but that was it that was found in that opportunity session. And then finally, we are on to session 4, which is the average order volume. So back over to here, we find we've got the 29 active clients, yeah? So of these 29 active clients, the clients who placed once in the last 12 months is 11. And we haven't actually, or they haven't actually formally offered any second engagement to any of those ones. Okay, so yeah, they could have actually placed these guys. So just having a look, any of these that are amber on the list, yeah, here, this is this list, sorry. So these guys did placements. These guys only did once in 2024. Okay, and there's a number of them you can see. So active clients 29, only placed once in 2024 is 11. There's 6 multi-agency clients who are not on the PSL. So the PSL opportunities here are the blue ones. Okay, now I'm just having a look. So there's no pipeline calls. There's only client re-engagement. So there's no proactive outreach to anybody. They just wait. So we're saying, what if they introduce some kind of proactive outreach? So after people have placed somebody, if there's just them once only, what can you actually do? Can you see if you can get them? Now, what if 4 of those 11 people liked the service so much that they actually took a second placement, right? 4 placements at another £5,880 less the commission is £20,698. Okay, but we're not going to go for everybody's going to do that. We're gonna scale it back. We don't think 4 are actually going to do it, so we're going to go for a conservative approach. So this is effectively an upsell for So no second recruitment offered. Action required. Always offer second hire or second recruitment. If they manage to do that, let's go with the fact that they just get roughly sort of 50% or so. So we're going to go with the fact that they get £13,000. Okay? And that's net of any commission. Okay? So effectively they get half of what they had been doing. Then we've got the people who are having these PSL conversations, right? So we need to have these PSL conversations to get these people onto some kind of regular opportunity. So all of these blue ones in here that you can see, there's 6 of them. They've got multi-agencies. Yeah, so this is the things that highlight to make these people potential. If we can do some way where we can get these people onto a PSL, and sorry, I haven't been clear, right? PSL is preferred supplier list, yeah? So if you can get onto their preferred supplier list, then the idea is that you can get across the multi-agency sites, because they might only actually be placing for one of the sites, right? So this is an idea to be able to do cross-selling and increase that average order value, okay? So the idea is that that's going to lock in some volume. It's going to remove the churn. It's going to make it more difficult for those guys to leave because you're embedded into their whole business. So these guys, so if we have a look across here, so it was this one here, the insurance firm. These guys have actually got 3 sites and they use 3 different agencies. Right, so they could be the ones who get in there and go, why don't we become the preferred supplier across all of your sites, and you don't need to have 3 different agencies with 3 different processes, and there's a good opportunity there. Then also need to be able to target some of the other ones. So we also noted that for any of these where there could be a preferred suppliers list, Meridian isn't actually on that for any of them. So the goal is to get on 2 of those lists in the next 12 months. Okay, so did we actually agree? No, we just agreed that there could just be benefits in the future. Yeah, so this one we were like, do you know what? It's not something you can action today. It might take 12 months to get onto that preferred supplier list and be the main one that's there. So we left session 4 as just going, let's just say it's just the £13,000 that could be found. Okay, so we end up with this situation. This business was making, where's my notes? £189,000 profits, 20% margin, okay? And thought that they were doing well. The accountant agreed. The accountant was guiding them. They are doing well. Against other recruitment agencies, they're doing really great. What they didn't do was take them as a business and dive in and go, but could they be doing better? Because if you're doing average, like, I think the average business in the UK makes £8,000 profit. Like, who wants to be average? Yeah? They've got an opportunity to be really, really good here. And we found the fact across those 4 sessions that there's £74,000 of additional profit that could be in place. So, with Sarah making £189,000 last year, potentially pushing that profit up by £74,000 brings her in at £263,000 profits. That £74,000 post-tax is 55 grand. Divide that by 12. That's an extra £4,500 a month that Sarah potentially could be taking from this business. Okay, or using to reinvest to grow the business even further. So, with all of that found, it's not about her being able to necessarily go and find new business, which is what most business owners would do in Sarah's situation. They'd go for the fact of, let's go sell more, and then the profits will come. What we've done is improve the margin in the business and got rid of costs that have an impact pretty much today. Some of the things may just have to take 30 or 60 days while you give your notice, but they're going to happen. Okay? So, I think I would call that a success. Anyway, based on all of that, Sarah's obviously left with a far better business. And I'd like to just say, before you go, if you want to experience any of this, then the Profit Gap tool is available. It's free. It's only going to take you 5 minutes or so, and you can see exactly what is sitting in your business and the opportunities that are there. The link's in the description, or simply just go to tool.mbsaccountants.co.uk. And as my business mentor Dan always says, if you want a better business, then you need to become a better business owner. But I take that one step further. Becoming a better business owner starts with looking through your business lens. And that lens is your numbers. They always tell a story. And with the right help, we usually find that there is a lot of leaking profit. So until next time, remember, the numbers always reveal the leak.